Lakes.
Speaker, under these Liberals, it's the same spending, same ministers, and same painful consequences for Canadians. Except now, we don't know the government's full plan because they refuse to table a budget, something quite new to Canada. Budgets have been presented during wars, economic downturns, and yes, even following elections. We do know that this government has increased spending on consultants by 36%, meaning every Canadian household must pay $1,400 to get gimmicks instead of results. How is this Liberal government asking to spend $500 billion without even a budget?
Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, it's the same old Conservative, but with new slogan, Mr. Speaker. We're just a week in this House, and they're coming back with slogan. On this side of the House, Canadians watching at home know they can trust us, Mr. Speaker, because we promise and we deliver. We promise to be there for Canadians, and the first thing we delivered, Mr. Speaker, was a tax cut for 22 million Canadians. There are people in this riding watching today, and they're going to thank this new Liberal government, Mr. Speaker, to make their life more affordable. But we have even more good news, Mr. Speaker. We're removing the GST on new homes for first-time home buyers up to $1 million, Mr. Speaker. This is a...
The member for Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes.
Well, Speaker, I don't think asking for a budget on behalf of Canadians is a slogan, and actually something Canada has always had, is a budget. In fact, this government has spent $330,000 just on consultants to rebrand a Crown corporation. The goal of that name change is to get people real excited about high-speed rail from Toronto to Quebec City. People in my area have grown quite tired of waiting decades for this project to become reality. So when will the government actually get shovels in the ground instead of padding the pockets of well-connected Liberal consultants?
Minister of Transport.
Speaker, I am glad to have the Conservatives finally talking about supporting big nation-building projects. At a time when our economy is being battered by U.S. tariffs, that is exactly what we need. Now is the time to get shovels in the ground. Now is the time to build high-speed rail. Now is the time to build Canada. That is what the Prime Minister will be talking about with premiers in Saskatoon. That is going to be what is in the bill that we will be presenting in this session, and we're going to count on the Conservatives to support that.
That's right. The member for Sibilkani, South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Mr. Speaker, the new Liberal Prime Minister is keeping the wasteful spending of Justin Trudeau. In fact, they are increasing spending on building bureaucracy and on well-connected consultants. The Prime Minister promised to cap spending at 8% and instead is increasing it at 2% and instead is increasing it by 8%. That's without even tabling a budget to give this House a full picture of our public finances. How is the Liberal government asking to spend $500 billion without a budget plan?
The President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, I want to remind the member that a lot of that funds in the main estimates are transfer payments to provinces and territories. That means billions of federal support for the member's province and the constituents. I challenge the member to join us in supporting these investments so that we can deliver services to Canadians and build Canada strong.
The member for Red Deer.
Mr. Speaker, this week's throne speech confirms that Canadians are in for more of the same recklessness with this Liberal government. They promised to cap the spending at 2%. They've broken their promise again. Spending $500 billion, almost 8% more than Justin Trudeau. Same limitless spending, same mistakes that got Canada into this mess. Canada can't trust the Liberals gambling with their futures. When will the Prime Minister stop hiding the state of our finances and release a budget?
Secretary of Government, Transformation and Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very proud to have been elected with this government on a strong mandate to reduce bureaucracy, make government more efficient. We're working on it, and the goal is to spend less so that we can invest more, and that's exactly what we're doing with a tax cut for 22 million Canadians. That's going to save on average per Canadian family $840. I'm hoping Conservatives will rally behind this common sense idea. Thank you.
The member for Regina, Wascana.
Mr. Speaker, over the last 10 years, the Liberal government's debt and deficits have been out of control.
The Prime Minister said that his government had a plan to cap its spending increase at 2% and to cut expensive government consultants. But now the Liberals want to quadruple that spending increase and to spend 36% more on consultants, all without any accountability. Mr. Speaker, why are the Liberals spending $500 billion with no budget? The Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy by the question by the member. In fact, what he's failing to tell Canadians watching today is that, in fact, Canada has one of the best balance sheets in the G7, Mr. Speaker. Not only do we have a AAA credit rating, Mr. Speaker, but we have the lowest debt to GDP ratio, Mr. Speaker. That is an enviable position. I just presided over the G7 Finance Minister meeting in Banff recently. Mr. Speaker, the world is watching what Canada has to offer, and the world wants what Canada has to offer, Mr. Speaker. In this sense, Mr. Speaker, we're going to build the strongest economy of the G7. We're going to make this country resilient and ambitious for all Canadians.
For Hastings, Lennox and Addington, and Tynedinaga.
The Prime Minister's first bill has shattered his spending promises. He was elected on a promise of financial transparency, accountability, and responsibility, and only 1 month later, he has already torn down that facade, treating taxpayer dollars like some seedy, secretive corporate bank account instead of the purse strings of this nation. Mr. Speaker, in what world can this Prime Minister justify spending $500 billion in taxpayer dollars without a budget?
The President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, this new government is making sure that spending is being carefully managed and focused on our most pressing priorities. We will continue to review our spendings to make sure we are being efficient, effective, and focused on meeting the challenges and opportunities Canada faces.
The member for Hastings, Lennox and Addington, and Tynedinaga.
This government's dismissive rhetoric does not stand up to scrutiny. They promised to cap spending at 2%, but hours later increased it by 8%. No fiscal anchor, no fiscal guardrails. We are in a fiscal freefall, and working-class Canadians are paying the bill, including nearly $1,400 per household spent on this Prime Minister's corporate consultant cronies. Mr. Speaker, it's insulting to Canadians. How is this Liberal government asking to spend $500 billion without a budget?
The President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the investments in the main. It includes important funding to support the Canadian forces, health services for First Nations, dental care, border services and immigration, veterans benefit and housing. The new government is investing in Canadians to build Canada strong.